Hey, shalom, shalom, family. HalaluYAH. Praise Yahuwah, the mighty father of Abraham, the mighty father of Isaac, and the mighty father of Yaqub. Shalom to everyone here in the name of YaHUshua, our ordained king and priest in the heavens and the earth, to redeem and reconcile us back to Father Yahuwah. HalaluYAH, 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 family. With that, hey, shalom to you and your house. And may that the blessing of the Baruch of Yahuwah be upon you and your family in truth and knowledge, righteousness and holiness, that you have making your walk straight and narrow to the gates of the kingdom of Yahuwah by your obedience and your reverence of his name, and that your servitude to your mighty Father in being sons and daughters for the kingdom to come. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Hey, what I like to deal with today is birthdays or genealogy, which is important to the Creator. Birthdays or genealogy, born days or birth certificates. What's more important? Uh, I do know that, we all like to celebrate our born days, birthdays, and it's about how you honor yourself. You know, I I would never, moving I thought about the truth of Yahuwah and scriptures, you know, I would never celebrate my birthday with any of Shabbats, weekly Shabbats or the hot Shabbats. Why? And that's a day of Yahuwah. That's a day of us sitting still in our homes, basically on the weekly Shabbat, meditating, studying with our family, and preparing ourselves to be renewed to go back out into the world, to deal with the world on a daily basis. This is what the weekly Sabbath is for us, man. It's a rejuvenation process. At the end of the week, it was that rest from the world. The high Shabbat, again, it belongs to the festival of Yahuwah, for us to do the things that Yahuwah said to do to be able to celebrate in front of him or with him in his presence, family. But birthdays are a little bit more corrupt. We all started corrupt, you know. And I understand people want to celebrate their baby, the newborn's first birthday. Is it really important? Is baby going to remember it? I mean, the best you can do is take pictures and have ask for more. You know what I'm saying? And as you get older, we see that there are certain key points: the fifth birthday, the 13th birthday, the sweet 16th birthday, then et cetera, et cetera. I guess my point is this: is that how polluted do you pollute your own born day? And do you have you ever kept it, which most of us have done, on the Shabbat in ignorance, But I'm not saying you can't celebrate you, do you 100. That's okay. Celebrate you. But we also got to be mindful that when we serve Yahuwah, we got to give the glory of Yahuwah to Yahuwah. We cannot usurp the glory of Yahuwah with our own beggarly understanding of fleshly thoughts that I'm going to celebrate my born day on the weekly Shabbat or the high Shabbat. But like I say, for the sons and daughters of Yahuwah, we should know and understand this. If not, if family do you 100 and no one get in your way when the time comes and Yahuwah said you try to share his glory with yourself and something else, then that would be between you and your family. But I want to get a couple of precepts, dealing with birthdays in scripture, right? I want to start off with Genesis chapter 40, verse 20. And I can remember when I was a much younger man and I'm celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating it because the world taught me, hey, go get high, go get drunk, get your crunk on, find your little shorty, get your rocks off, you know what I'm saying? And the same thing with the women out there. You go out there with your birthdays with your girlfriends, and you want to do the same thing. You want to set it off. You want to find that young stud dude, that the guy you've been chasing, and you're willing to lay on your back for him and enjoy the pleasure of uh, of pleasure, right? You know what I'm saying? I want to keep it PG, basically. But birthdays and scriptures are associated with evilness, you know? Not because I'm saying I was evil or you were evil or the people coming up are going to be evil, but it's the time, it's the way it's given to us. It's the way we're told to celebrate, you know what I'm saying? Birthdays or genealogy. What's more important? Your genealogy is about understanding who you are. We've been people cut off. We're cut off a big gap of our genealogy. We cannot trace uh, every forefather back to Father Yaqub, back to Isaac and Abraham. You know what I'm saying? Because of the captivity that we've been going back and forth in, we have a whole lot of our genealogy information cut off. And with YaHUaH, genealogy is important for your house to know who was born in your house. All the males first and foremost. And so we want to make sure that we understand that when we are dealing with what we know as birthdays or the born days, it's supposed to be accompanied by a written genealogy. Today they say birth certificate, but remember your birth certificate is loaded, just like your social security number is loaded. You are merchandise by your birth certificate and your social security number because you pay the government back in the Great Depression. That's because social security numbers aren't that old, if you look at it in real time. But it was used for a purpose that everyone born into the world was going to make money and pay tax back to the private bank. You know what I'm saying? And if you look at the birth certificate, it has information on it that leads you to being owned by countries, right? Look at the Jamaican birth certificate. Research that and look at all the information that the British Columbia they use or the British Isles use to uh, merchandise the Jamaicans and the West Indies and things like that, man. Look that stuff up. It's important, man. When you think that birth certificate is a rite of passage, man, all it is a documentation of you and your social security number to be tax dollars, basically, for the machine that's in the same. But Pharaoh had a birthday when Yahusha ben Nun, I'm sorry, when Yahusha, the 11th son of Yaqub, his brother sold him into to the Arabs, as they would say, or Ishmael, and he ended up in Egypt, and he got locked up because he was falsely accused because Potiphar's wife wanted to have sex with him, and he understood and obeyed the law of Yahuwah and knowing what adultery was. Which on our birthdays, if you just buck wild, you don't care. Is it shorty you grab got a husband? You know, if you're a shorty you like this dude for a long time, you don't care that he got a wife. Basically, you gonna go get it in. You know. So how often have we violated the holy instructions of how to keep our temples? You know what I'm saying? How to manage the order of Yahuwah. You know, I know that when we were in our ignorance, we didn't know no better, but they say ignorance is no excuse for breaking the law. You got to figure it out, right? But here in Genesis 40, family, verse 20 says, and it came to pass the third day, which was Pharaoh's birthday, right? His born day. He celebrated his born day. Now, because he is the highest authority in the land, man, he's the most corrupt. If you look at it, he says that he made a feast unto all his servants, and he lifted up the head of the chief butler and of the chief baker among his servants. Right? Here's two of the three guys that was locked up with Yahusha. Right? He says that, and he restored the chief butler unto his butlership again, and he gave the cup into Pharaoh's hand, but he hanged the chief baker, right? Because remember, if you read the story, Yahusha had the dreams about each one of them, and that how one was going to lose his life, basically. And when is he going to lose his life? On Pharaoh's birthday. Why? Because Pharaoh did a wicked thing for pleasure. See, sometimes we do wicked things for pleasure, man, and we condone and make excuses for our wickedness and our pleasure. You don't want to do that, right? And he says that, but he hanged the chief baker as Yahusha had interpreted to them, yet did not the chief butler remember Yahusha, but forgot him, right? We ain't talking about the chief butler right now, but we're talking about the birthday of Pharaoh and what Pharaoh did on his birthday. You know what I'm saying? He hung the baker. That's I mean, we can say, well, the baker was locked up, because he did a horrific crime. He didn't make the pot crusty enough, I guess, and Pharaoh gave him a death sentence, and it happened to be his birthday. Sounds like we made an excuse. But what we draw from this, especially when we draw from this, is that here's a birthday that someone who's in charge of a kingdom kill a man for sport on his birthday, technically, family. That's what we need to see, right? So, birthdays or genealogies, birth certificates or born days. Either way it go, let's understand what's important to the Creator. Your born day being copied down in your genealogy is what's important. And again, we have lost a lot of our connection of genealogy basing back toward our forefathers, right? And that's important for us to understand. I mean, we do have understanding that we know where we come from, the scriptures and understanding and DNA and all that stuff, but we don't have that written genealogy. Man, I would love to have a written genealogy of my father's 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 fathers. You know what I'm saying? And don't go look at that stuff until you go look at the DNA crap that they offer you. Until you go by your mother. The mother don't make the nation. The seed is of the man. The man makes the nation, family. So you find yourself with those kind of tests. You do 10% Australian, 40% Ireland, 19% African, 38% white, 11% black. That's all confusion, man. But genealogy is the written history, and your birth certificate is not a genealogy, technically. It only does represent you and your immediate so-called parents. And people can lie on those things. How I know? Because I know that my father was done on my birth certificate. My mother's husband was on my birth certificate. You know what I'm saying? And because she was a widow, he didn't marry her, but he had a baby by her. She just put her husband as my father on the birth certificate. Took a minute for me to get that understanding. Like, my father, why you just didn't just step up? You made me. You procreated me. You know what I'm saying? But like I say, the birth certificate it is designed to put you into a system to where you become merchandise, and also with the Social Security number. Check it out, man. It's not a conspiracy theory. It's actual factual, right? But Pharaoh's birthday was wicked, right? Let's go to Mattathiah right quick. Let's go to Mattathiah. Let's look at King Herod, right? You know what I'm saying? And some of us we don't have authority to put people to death for fun on our birthdays, but even to consider that is wicked. You know what I'm saying? For the eyes of YaHUaH, right? Matthew chapter 14, family. And like I say, thank you for allowing me to share my information with you, man. It's important that we share, we talk. You know what I'm saying? I often wish that, we had an open dialogue, but people don't like to get on the phones and talk, And then when you can't understand how they express themselves through the comments in the text, you get a little discouraged, because sometimes it's just ain't no emotions in the text or the comedy. It's good to hear someone's voice. The way you can determine, what type of spirit that they're dealing with. You know what I'm saying? But again, people don't want to get on the phones with me. They don't want to be wrong. It ain't about being wrong. It's about being uplifted and being inspired to do what is right according to the Creator, our Father YaHUaH, family. But let's look at Herod. Because see, Herod was married to his brother Philip's wife, right? And Yachanan the immerser had told them that it was wrong for them to be together. It was unlawful for them to be together because Philip had already had a daughter by Herodias, who was the woman involved. And she, of course, told her daughter, to dance, sultrily before Herod and his homeboys. And he gonna offer you an opportunity to ask for something, and then you tell him what you want, right? And what she wanted was evil on this man's birthday, but because he was with his homeboys and he looked at him like, "What you gonna do, dog?" She asked, she did her thing. She twerked and jumping like it was hot. You gonna what you gonna give her? You know. And when she asked, the pressure was on. But let's look at it though, family. Uh, Malachi 14, right, in verse 3. Okay, so it says that, "For Herod had laid hold on Yachinah and bound him and put him in prison for Herodias' sake, his his brother Philip's wife, his brother's Philip's wife." Hey, the law of raising seed unto your brother is based on your brother dying with no male child or children, technically, right? So Philip had a daughter by Herodias, so there was no need for him to deal with her in this fashion, right? But remember, this woman is the one that's going to bring forth this evil because she knows that her marriage to her brother-in-law is unlawful, right? And she don't want to be told that. So here's Herod on his birthday, and make sure he getting good and drunk, and then she put her daughter out there to do her twerking and jumping like a hot dance, right? So he goes on to say, "For Yachinah said unto him, It is not lawful for thee to have her. And when he would have put him to death, he feared the multitude because they counted him as the prophet." So he wanted to kill Yachinah anyway, but because the people feared that he was a prophet, he didn't want to do it because he figured people would rebel. Right? Verse 6. "But when Herod's birthday, okay, we're dealing with a birthday, born day, one of those birth certificates back then, but you're supposed to be able to have your genealogy chart, or they call it family tree, right? Call it family tree today. Are you got your family tree together, right? But it says that the daughter of Herodias danced before them. It says, but when Herod's birthday was kept, the daughter of Herodias danced before them, him and his homeboys, and it pleased Herod. Yeah, he probably got a boner. You know what I'm saying? He says, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And remember, this is his blood niece. This is his brother's daughter. You know what I'm saying? And look at the wickedness that's going on this birthday. Drinking, lusting, all these things, man, is going on. Anything you can almost put, you know, they out of pocket. And here's what my mom used to say, don't sit there look at the crack of her butt, you should go put clothes on or whatever, right? But that's what they doing. Look at the crack of his niece's butt. And she jumping and she twerking like it's hot. You know what I'm saying? For him on his birthday, but there's an evil plan behind her twerking is, right? I mean, the sisters are in the club twerking with evil plan to lay with some man for some purpose. You know what I'm saying? What's the evil plan for the brother going to the club with a dollar, pocket for $1? Everybody gonna make it rain. What do you hope to gain after that on your birthday? You looking to pull from the club. Is she somebody's wife? You know, is she somebody who also isn't cleansed? Purified, basically. You know, but look at what I'm saying, family. Look at what the word is telling us. Like I say, if you want to honor your birthday, no problem. Do you 100? But I learned that you're not supposed to honor your birthday or your born day on a weekly Shabbat. And that's a day for YaHUaH. You should be resting and meditating, things like that, on the Shabbat in your house. You shouldn't be out of your house. The most time that a lot of our people fall people to violence and things in the world is when on Friday night and Saturday, the Shabbat. When the Shabbat isn't active, a lot of us are out there active against the Shabbat, doing things that are not Sabbatic. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of us fortunately lose our lives on the Shabbat when we should be sitting still. YaHUaH, right? But he says, whereupon he promised with an oath to give her whatsoever she would ask. And she, being before instructed of her mother, said, give me here Yachinah the immerser in on the charger. And the king was sorry, nevertheless, for the oath's sake, and them which sat with him at meat, he commanded it to be given to her. Hey, are you not a man of your word, Herod? Because hey, I dance for you. I feel like it's hot. I should have cracked my butt to you and your boys. Now, all I want, what my mom told me, is ask for is the head of YHUH mercy. So, hey, man, blame it on the alcohol, as Jamie Foxx said, right? Here I, boy, said, man, I was drunk, man. I didn't know what I was doing. Yeah, blame it on the alcohol. That's what a lot of us do anyway. But, hey, he says, and he sent and he beheaded YHUH in prison. And his head was brought in a charger and given into the damsel, and she brought it to her mother. So on his birthday, it was evil concocted, right? Don't let your birthday be used for evil. Don't let your born day be used in unrighteousness on a day that you want to celebrate yourself, which is fine. But remember, Yahuwah is not going to give his glory to any other thing. Even you can't take his glory because you want to celebrate your birthday. Especially we do it on Saturdays a lot anyway. Whether your birthday is before or after, Saturday is the day we're gonna pollute, man. Let's get out there and let's do some evil on my born day, and it's fall on Friday night, Saturday. Come on, y'all. We gotta wake up. We have to wake up, right? How you gonna be a peculiar treasure if you are fully polluted and defiled? It can't be a treasure, right? So it's just so important, family, that we understand that it's important to keep genealogy, right? Let me go. I'm gonna get through this right quick. So I'm gonna stop talking. I'm gonna do a little bit more reading. Let's go to Exodus the 14th chapter right quick, and let's get into the genealogy part. But it's important for us to be able to deal with genealogy. You know what I'm saying? So it says here in Exodus chapter 14, verse 3, for Pharaoh was saying to the children of YaHUaH, they are entangled in the land, the wilderness have shut them in, and Pharaoh hardened his heart against the fall of them to be honored, and he will be honored upon Pharaoh, and I will be honored upon Pharaoh and upon the whole all his host. But the Egyptians should know that I am YaHUaH. They did so. So here's YaHUaH saying, hey, I'm gonna get my glory, I'm gonna get my honor. You know what I'm saying? So don't pollute his Shabbat, family. Don't pollute your body, your temple by eating incorrectly. It's important to serve the Creator when you find out in truth and righteousness, right? But hey, he goes on to say this in verse 5. He says that, and it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and his servants was turned against the people, and they said, we have done this, that we have let YaHUaH go from serving us. Right? So today we serving the nation by our by through the social security numbers, through the birth certificates, because all that stuff got certain numbers on it, and it dictates you as merchandise. So hey, why do we tear up the birth certificates of YaHUaH, basically? Why do we burn the social security numbers of YaHUaH, basically, right? Now they're not gonna serve us. We can't make them a commodity. You know what I'm saying? So he says that, and he made the chariots. And he made ready his chariots and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and the captains over every one of them. And Yahuwah hardened the heart of Pharaoh, king of Egypt, and pursued. And he pursued after the children of YaHUaH. And the children of YaHUaH went out in the high hand with a high hand. But the Egyptians pursued after them, and the horses and chariots of Pharaoh and his horsemen and his army overtook them and kept them by the sea. Besides, Pahara thought before Baal the farm, right? But we know that story. But my point here is to show you that the nations got us right now, and they got their own children locked in for birth certificates instead of genealogy being recorded. And it's important that we understand that we need to really research genealogy. Write down your lineage, man. That's important for your future generations to know where they come from. You know what I'm saying? But it's a big problem in the earth today, and a lot of that's not being done properly, right? So you know what? I'm sorry. I should have read Exodus 13, verse 22. But hey, praise Yahuwah for the Ruach giving me this understanding. Let us see that, hey, the nations are going to be sore displeased with Yahushua come and gather us and take us out of all the lands of the nations, basically, family. You better believe that, right? So, so you might as well be ready. And if you ain't, shame on you, right? It's important. But here's what I wanted to read: Exodus 13, verse 1 and 2. And Yahuwah spake unto Moshe, saying, Sanctify unto me all the firstborn. Whatsoever openeth the womb among the children of YaHUaH, both man and of beast, it is mine. So Yahuwah said, take a genealogy, basically, to dedicate the male children to me, right? Take a genealogy, right? Let's go to First Chronicles. Let's go to First Chronicles. So we're supposed to be keeping a genealogy of ourselves. You know what I'm saying? A lineage record is what it is. You know what I'm saying? Are you keeping your lineage record, basically, right? So here in First Chronicles 5, verse 7, it says, and his brothers by their family, when the genealogy of their generation was reckoned, were the chief of Yael and Zechariah, right? So we talk about, we used to keep records of genealogy, not so much as birth certificates to lock you into some servitude or some social security number to pay a government taxes. Hey man, we supposed to know where we come from and who our fathers are and what house we come out of. You know what I'm saying? That's important. But we don't find it important because we've been back and forth in and out of captivity so much that everything has been lost. Because now our captors are saying, you are our product, you are our merchandise, you are our commodity, and you have numbers to prove that, right? Second Chronicles 3, right? Let's go to Second Chronicles. Second Chronicles, the third chapter. We're talking about born days and genealogies versus birthdays and certificates. Seems like one and the same, doesn't it? I mean, birthday is your born day. Birth certificate is supposed to be your genealogy. No, your genealogy is a record of your lineage, of your fathers back to his father to the beginning of Adam's, technically, but a lot of us don't care about that anyway. You know what I'm saying? Second Chronicles, the 31st chapter. Second Chronicles, the 31st chapter. So Chronicles is a genealogy. It's a book of genealogy. First and second, a lot of sons of, or band of, or being of, you know. You just got to be able to deal with this, right? So Second Chronicles, the 31st chapter, we'll read verse 17, family. Here it says, we're talking about genealogies, right? What's important to Yahuwah? Your birthday, your birth certificate, or you having a born day and it's recorded in a genealogy, right? So verse 17 says, well, you know what? Read a little further. Um, Verse 16 says, besides their genealogy of males from 3 years old and upward, even unto everyone that entered into the house of Yahuwah, his daily portion for their service is in their charges according to their course. Talking about the priests and the Levites, right? It says that both to the genealogy of the priests by the house of their fathers and the Levites from 20 years old and upward in their charge of service by their course, and to the genealogy of all their little ones, their wives, and their sons and their daughters throughout all the congregation, for in their set office they sanctify themselves in holiness. Also the sons of Aharon the priest, which were in the fields and in the suburbs of the cities, in every several city, the men that were expressed by name, to give a portion to the males among the priests, and to all that were reckoned by genealogy among the Levites. Hey, it's important for us to understand genealogy, family. We're supposed to know who and where we come from. We ain't supposed to be guessing. We're supposed to have what they call today a family album, right? But instead of being full of pictures, it's full of names and dates of the birth and of whose father that they come from for the male son, because it's like your family tree, technically, family. That's all I'm saying. But here also with Here's a book of genealogy here in Malachi chapter 1, right? Verse 1 says, the book of the generations, right, of YaHUaH Messiah, the son of Daoud, the son of Abraham, right? So generations upon generation. Here's 14 generations of genealogy that's written right here between verses 2 and 11, basically, right? And you go into the third chapter of Luke, I think it is, and you can see more genealogy put down, basically, family. That's what's important. Our genealogy, knowing that we are not Israelites and that we are a more special, peculiar treasure. We are the shepherds of YaHUaH. This is what YaHUaH is, what it means, shepherd of YaHUaH. So in Psalms, what's it, 23, when Daoud said, YaHUaH is my shepherd in the English version translation from our language, it is YaHUaH, YaHUaH. YaHUaH is shepherd. Because Ra is shepherd. Look it up, family. Ain't nobody trying to pull the wool over your eyes, man. Hey, you got to figure out your genealogy. You got to figure out your born status. You got to understand who your father's house belongs to of one of the 12 sons of Yaqub. And man, we got to start beginning to heal and reconcile ourselves back to one another. Humility, truth, and our community, basically, family. And if we can't do that, then we are still the commodities wholesale for the nation who tell us to celebrate our birthdays, polluting and to pollute the Shabbat of our Father. So family, hey, I think I talked long enough. I hope I got my point across. I hope you got some understanding and that this information that I have spoken is enlightening, help you become better students of scriptures. You know, hey, calm down on keeping your birthdays on the weekly Shabbat of YaHUaH. That's if you serve YaHUaH, you say truth and righteousness. If you don't, do you 100 family. But it's important to be able to now realize that, hey, we are a peculiar treasure, a holy people, a holy nation. We just got to get back to showing ourselves approved before the Father, creator, who is the Spirit, King of the universe, family. As always, again, thank you for allowing me to share my time with you. This is my information. You do not have to agree with my information, but it is my information. I do hope my information is enlightening and it helps you become better students of Scripture. And it helps you become better students of Scripture. With that, family, praise YaHUaH in YaHUshah's name, our ordained king and priest in the heavens and the earth, to redeem and reconcile us back to Father YaHUaH. HalaluYAH, HalaluYAH, HalaluYAH. So be it, may it be so. HalaluYAH Shalum, Shalom, family.